Have you ever wondered if life could be harder than it already is? Like maybe a little more suffering would change you fundamentally as a person? Have you ever thought that the definition of insanity hasn't been studied in enough depth? Do you ever wake up in the morning and choose violence? I haven't done any of those things, but I did spend 30 hours trying to beat Gold Stake Balatro with only Judgment cards. Let's take a look. Hey, it's Sungazer, and welcome to Judgment Only Gold Stake Balatro, also known as my week-long, all-consuming nightmare, and the reason why my restless sleeps are filled with the sounds of Arcana packs and hand triggers. If you've wondered where I've been for... oh my god, it's been 10 months, I'm so sorry. Stick around and I'll have a little life and living update for you at the end of this video. In short, life has been kicking my ass, so if you, yes you, 18 to 34-year-old American male, according to my analytics, enjoy my content, then you can help keep me alive for a little while longer by liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment about which Joker you'd like to personally remove from the game forever. Lord knows there's a few good ones on my shit list now. We also have channel membership, which gives you access to my community's Discord server, which is rather dry at the moment, but feel free to sign up if you think your presence can breathe some fresh life into it. Before we jump right into discussing how this run works in detail, let's take a look at an example of a run that went right and how it ended so wrong. We start off the run strong, 2 charm tags available, which is exactly what we need to cook up something promising. The first Arcana pack gives us nothing special, $4 and a Hierophant we slap onto our Ace and King. However, the second pack is where we find straight gas. A Judgment card appears and gives us Shoot the Moon, plus 13 mult for every queen in hand. We can work with that, definitely not the worst Joker I've pulled in this challenge. We then pop our 2 Fool cards, which give us 6 cents and Splash. 2 more cards that I definitely can't complain about, although it's going to be a little touch and go if we can't get some better scoring Jokers soon. We use the Hangman out of the pack to thin a couple of numbered cards, and then it's onto the Boss Blind, which thankfully was about as easy as the Anti-1 Boss Blind should have been, and even netted us a Red Seal Queen, a fantastic target for a future death card. 2 more rounds with nothing particular of note except for everyone's favorite tarot, the Wheel of Nothing, and we finally get another 2 key pieces to what we're trying to do. A Chariot card, which is immediately used on one of our queens, and a Fool, which we use to hold another Chariot for a very specific target. We're now really starting to lay the foundation of what we want the deck to be, and can only hope we continue along this trend indefinitely, although considering how I know you can see the remaining video length, oh well, let's just play this one out. In our next boss blind against the Manacle, we find our Red Seal Queen and immediately chariot it. If we can just get, I don't know, 47 more of these things, we'll be eating good today. The boss goes down and we pick ourselves a grabber and open our second and third original flavor judgments, getting ourselves a Seeing Double, sometimes mult that is really going to come in handy if we can remember to play around it, and Erosion. Flat mult that I really can't say no to, that should get stronger as we trim our deck. Aside from yet another Wheel of Nothing, creating a fresh queen, and deeply considering that hex card, nothing much of interest happens until round 7, where we buy and hold another death card and hang a couple more numbered cards. The deck is still a little too cumbersome to get some clean queen mult, and it really shows in the next couple of blinds, especially against Anti-4's boss blind, the Water, where I draw exactly 0 queens for my first 2 hands. Thankfully, I draw the Steel Red Seal and pop death, easily getting the remaining points I need. Once again, my luck is all over the place this run. We grab a Hung Man from the Arcana pack and manage to pull both Steel Red Seals in the next blind, but the following shop has sweet dick all for me except a little deck thinning. Even further, with a promising shop of 2 Arcana packs and a Hermit, our only boon is replacing 6 cents with Scarier Face, a small trade up considering we're out of 6s anyway. With seed money also obtained, we continue on grabbing a Polychrome Jack with a pipe dream involving strength and death, but we'll never see fruition. Omen Glow, Black Hole, and a whole lot of nothing as we approach the Anti-6 boss blind, and if you can read as well as I can, you'll know the run ends here.
Well, I'm just gonna go blow my brains out now.
With face cards debuffed and the run already struggling to hit the point total of the previous large blind, this attempt is over. You should now have a pretty good idea of how this run is going to work. My basic rules going forward are: 1. I can only take Jokers from Judgment cards. Obviously this means no shop Jokers, but I'm also avoiding Wrath and the Soul, because while they are also cards which generate random Jokers, they aren't Judgment cards. This unfortunately makes rare Jokers even more rare and legendary Jokers just straight up absent from these runs. Also, going off script here, the amount of times I have pulled an Arcana pack with both Judgment and Soul in it hurts me deeply.
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
Number 2, duplication effects like Onk and Invisible Joker are on the table, as whatever Joker is being duplicated is something I've already pulled from a Judgment and cannot generate anything new. Number 3, Jokers that generate other Jokers are also allowed, such as Riff Raff and Invisible Joker, welcome back.
Hello there.
Primarily because pulling a Joker and never being able to use it would be way more heartbreaking than I'd like. These last two rules don't really come into play much either, because in the former's case they're just too rare and lose too much tempo anyway, and the latter's case doesn't provide me with much benefit outside of being able to cycle useless Jokers for marginally less useless Jokers. Number 4, I'm not trying to build for Jokerless. Now this is kind of a moot point because the Jokerless challenge at least removes Jokers from the shot, making the whole ordeal a little easier, but in the spirit of the run I am trying to create builds around Jokers I am given, not just pumping my deck with enhancements and seals and trying to win in spite of what I've been given. Number 5, we play on Gold Stake. If we're going to do a capital C challenge run, we might as well be doing it on the hardest difficulty. Thankfully a few of the Gold Stake effects don't apply to us, however. In particular, all of the Joker stickers. Since we're solely pulling Jokers from Judgments, none of them will ever have Eternal, Perishable, or Rental stickers. Everything else still sucks though, especially the increased scaling, which is going to be the death of most of our runs. Which is the whole reason why doing this on White Stake would be far too easy. And that's it, as far as the run guidelines go. After this, we're basically just playing regular Balatro, right? Well, not quite. When I started doing these runs, I figured, how hard can it be? We just start with the magic deck, wait for our Judgment, and turn it into 3 Jokers with the Fools. It can't be that bad. That very quickly turned into about 10 runs of losing to the anti-2 big blind because I had nothing to work with. I knew the strategy had to change. I needed more structure with how I was starting these runs. That's when the madness started to creep in. Now instead of playing out runs, my time was spent holding R, hoping and praying that I would see a charm tag or 2 in the first ante. Now again, that doesn't sound like it could possibly be that bad. I mean, charm tags aren't all that rare, and I'd even get lucky sometimes rolling into 2 charms or a double tag into a charm. No, where the true horror comes from is what is actually in these packs, because let me tell you, it isn't Judgment. We've got slightly less than a 5% chance of Judgment appearing per slot of an Arcana Mega Pack. Approximately, the chances change based on what cards we're holding and what cards appear in the pack, and I'm just not gonna calculate it. One of you brainiacs in the comments can do it. This means sitting here, holding R, eyes go wide as I see that little 64 by 64 pixel icon that will decide my fate and finally allow me to play the game, only to see the worst tarot cards known to man for the 80th time that evening and resigning myself to holding R until the Furies take pity on me. Oh, is that an Emperor card? That could be a Judgment. It never is. Following up all of this, when the one card that brings our salvation actually appears, where I am actively salivating at not even the thought of completing the task at hand, but just getting to play the video game again, and when God decides to pull his funniest prank for the 5th time in a row and gives me Astronomer, Midas Mask, and the goddamn egg.
This card is useless.
Guess I won't be playing today. I mean, at least those do something for me. It could have been even worse. I love seeing shit like Crafty Joker or Wily Joker every damn run. Okay, so it's pretty bad. And it can go wrong really quickly. But let's take another look at a run that almost made it. Immediately following a run that could have been something where I pulled Ancient Joker, the Idol, and Vampire, but couldn't get my deck to behave and lost to the plant again, we immediately see a charm tag on the big blind that gives me my much needed dopamine card. This gives us a really solid start to the run in Trading Card, an excellent way to thin the deck. Reserved Parking, having extra economy never hurts, and the Potassium Prince himself, Big Mike. We also make the smart decision of cutting 2 more cards instead of gambling on the wheel, as much as that decision hurts me. The boss blind goes down not only easily, but very cash positive for us, and the next shop contains an Arcana pack with another Judgment, featuring probably the most goated card we could have hoped for, Blueprint. Balatro players know this is the best Joker in the game, but if you're somehow this far into the video and not aware, Blueprint copies the exact effect of the Joker to its right, functionally making it another copy of the best Joker you own. It's not doing too much right now, we just have it copying Mike for the extra mult, as Trading Card is unfortunately one of the few cards that we can't copy, which would have been incredible for more thinning, and copying Reserved Parking isn't really worth it unless I min-max my hands, which I maybe should have done. With that and the Tarot Merchant purchased, we easily clear the next blind and pick up another queen, and finally land a hit on the wheel, turning our Reserved Parking hollow for some extra juicy mult. Things are looking up, although a few less than ideal shops slows our roll until around round 4, where we finally find another Judgment and get even Steven. No time for sadness, however, because the other Arcana pack also contains a Judgment, which gets us Mystic Summit. Once again, nothing flashy, but I won't turn up my nose at some extra mult, although the lack of specialization to this run, and like any form of times mult, is causing me great concern. We press on regardless, beating a couple blinds, Magic Mike beating the odds and hanging in there just for us until we make it to the boss blind. Now remember when I said, if you can read as well as I can? Well, I hope you can read better than I can, because we're up against the eye, and you'll never guess who didn't look at the blind effect before throwing away a hand. Not even a high card either. either. I got locked into pairs.
Shout out to all the pair.
I can't tell you if this run could have gotten any further. Maybe we had the miracle pull on the next shot. Maybe Mikey would have kicked the bucket and we could have pulled Cavendish in the next shot. I didn't play out the loss and I didn't see the seed, so the world will never know. But there is probably an alternate universe where I won on that run, and also won the lottery that evening too. If I'm dreaming, I'm gonna dream big. Alright, okay, yeah, alright, so this isn't going great. Look, I'm not the best at this game, I never claimed to be. I mostly play on checkered deck, for God's sake. This isn't even my real profile, I'm using the one with everything unlocked. I'm not built for these streets, I fear. I don't think I can handle much more of this. Hold R, pop more judgments, odd Todd, clever Joker, iced cream. Did I forget to mention that? I'm still dealing with perishables anyway, because half my runs include ice cream, popcorn, and the fucking bean. How about this one where I get a polychrome Joker stencil? That is insanely powerful. I just need any amount of malt and I'll be sending this thing to the freaking moon, and no, I didn't get any. How could you tell? Oh, how about Wrathful Joker? That's promising. Could start building into spades. Oh, Flower Pot? Okay, maybe not, but we can still work with this maybe. What's the last Joker? Delayed gratification? So that's money. Money we'll probably never see, but hey, let's run it. Oh, okay, so no more Jokers, no deck manipulation, and I die to the big blind and ante 2? That's okay, let's run another one. Okay, Mad Joker isn't something we're looking for. Juggler even less, and, oh, Swashbuckler, that's at least some malt. Let's run it. So, where are the other Jokers? Anything? Does anyone else want to show up? We take the 2 anti-down vouchers just to try and squeeze out as much possibility as we can from these shops and end up constructing a fairly solid 5-of-a-kind aces build. Hex appears on a spectral pack, and for some reason I choose to drop it on the juggler. We continue for another like 4 rounds until we finally see another Joker. And it's Certificate. I sell it immediately. Ante 4, small blind, round 15? We pull probably the best hand we can make, and it's not even close to enough. I actually had another polychrome juggler in a previous run. A run where, you know, I actually got some other Jokers. Not good Jokers, mind you, but they at least exist this time. Made it a little further too, Ante 4 boss blind. But once again, I got sat down by the eye, and while I did remember how to read this time, we just don't have enough gas to make it through. Here's another one where I can actively and painfully demonstrate how this game can just give you complete and total dog shit. We start the run, grab Judgment, and it's Mad Joker. Something to clear early blinds with sure, but we gotta replace this guy immediately. Next Joker is Zany Joker. Second verse, same as the first, although I guess we'll be trying to build full houses now. Third up to bat is Green Joker. Green Joker's a great Joker, alright? Maybe even one of the best. Not for these runs though, I need those discards. Thankfully I had the foresight to skip the gambling and enhance some aces this run, but we're in dire straits. And we aren't even playing straights. The rest of the run just sorta continues. I don't find a single other Joker. The biggest events of note are absolutely loading my deck with malt aces and picking up a polychrome jack for some reason. I guess I just like polychrome jacks. I didn't even have a plan for it or anything. We make it to the boss blind of Ante 3, where for once I can't tell if I forgot to read the boss's effect or if I just didn't know I had 2 discards. But I'll continue to tell myself that this run was doomed anyway and I shouldn't feel bad about it. You guys want to see the run that actually hurt me? I had something fairly solid going on. Credit card gave me some good early value, and with both an enhanced Mystic Summit and an enhanced Ride the Bus, we were cruising through these rounds. Ante 4 offered me up one of the few vouchers that could actively impact my run, Observatory, giving times 1.5 malt for every planet card in hand for its appropriate hand type, plus the magic deck starting with an extra consumable slot, plus the blue seals in my deck giving me an access to a ton of Plutos. This run was set on getting there. This one had winner written deep in its blood. Not only that, but pulling a Hanging Chad from my next Judgment, as well as a slightly less impressive Swashbuckler, I was really feeling it. This had to be the run. Obviously, there's still like half a video left, so you know it wasn't, but in my heart of hearts, I had it. Cruised along all the way to the Ante 7 boss blind. Here you'd think that I beansed it in some silly way. Didn't read the effect, maybe? Just got hard countered and couldn't do anything without a reroll? Nope, none of that. I just didn't have the points. I had used one Pluto card perhaps when I shouldn't have, and ended up being just shy of 17,000 under the goal, around 7% away. That one was the tipping point, where it went from challenge run attempts to voluntary suffering. These are only some examples of runs I've had, and there's even more I could have talked about if my breaker hadn't blown during my first recording session, losing a day's worth of footage, which at this point might have been a blessing, because at least I had slightly less footage to go through. However, in spite of all of this, the struggle, the bad RNG, the technical problems, everything short of being smited where I sat for my transgressions against God and local funk, we had a run. A good run. Considering you're watching this video right now, you probably assumed we'd get here, but I sure didn't. I was rapidly losing hope. I was doing practice runs on my phone during breaks at work, and none of them were getting even remotely close. And then it happened. I started with Onyx Agate, Raised Fist, and Showman, who got sold immediately as it does things to Arcana packs that I just don't agree with. 6 rounds in, we get a Drunkard, and our purple seal gives us a full card, which creates Smiley Face. We're finally looking at some kind of synergy with our jokers for the first time in what felt like centuries. Some time passes. We're turning more and more of our deck into clubs, adding more face cards. Round 11, we pull a Supernova. Not a terrible mult card, but it just feels too slow at this point. It's coming off the rails, I can feel it. Raised Fist gets replaced with Square Joker, which gets sold immediately because I don't feel like micromanaging yet another Square Joker and another one of these goddamn runs. We pull a Popcorn on round 13, another sign of imminent death. We struggle along for another 3 rounds before Ante-5 Big Blind. Once again, we just don't have enough gas to make it through this aggressive scaling. I really thought this was it. I almost canned this whole project. Maybe I could just release a video like why the Balatro Gold Stake Judgment Only Challenge is impossible. Or maybe I would just go into the pile of half-completed, unreleased videos that I've been building for the last 10 months. In spite of all of this, the evening was still young, and I win again. The next game! Oh my god, okay, so... Charm Tag in the second blind. Play through the first round for an extra $3. Arcana pack has a Judgment. Good start, we're on the right track. First Joker, Fibonacci. Excellent. As far as flat Mulk rank specific cards go, this guy's up there. Second Joker, Joker Stencil. Incredible. Probably one of the best sources of Times Mult we could ask for. Getting flat Mult and Times Mult together like this happens so rarely, I knew I couldn't throw this one away. I had to lock in. Let's look at our final Joker, Constellation. Not only is this more Times Mult, but this is early enough where we can start juicing this as much as physically possible. This is the most unreal start I've had in my entire 30 hours of attempts. And I'll give you a small spoiler. That's it. These are exactly enough to carry us through the game, and we do not acquire, nor do we even wish for anymore. The Ante-1 boss blind is the hook, which goes away as easily as you'd assume, and then it's business as usual. We enhance the cards triggered by Fibonacci, we cut some cards that don't. Round 4, we open another Judgment card, revealing Matador, which we'd sell instantly. We pick up vouchers where we can, and of course eat as many planet cards as we possibly can. Ante-4, round 8, we open another Judgment card, revealing Arrowhead, which in a run without Joker Stencil would have been a pretty easy take, but in this instance, a maximum of 250 chips isn't worth remotely as much as an extra Times Mult. Or maybe it is. Once again, I'll let one of you Balatro brainiacs correct me. Money is through the roof at this point through a combination of financial responsibility and a healthy supply of Hermits and Temperances. And the couple blue seals in my possession are not only juicing my Constellation, but also my 2-pair hand, which is rapidly becoming my best option, although it really doesn't matter what we play with how much X-Malt we have coming off of our Fibonacci triggers. Throw in a few red seals and steel cards and, well, take a look. And with that, we finally reach our last obstacle, and possibly the best Ante-8 boss blind we could have hoped for, Amber Acorn. As you can probably read, flips and shuffles are jokers, which hardly matters in the best case scenario, and even less here, where it shuffled them into their original order. I swear this game started feeling bad for me at this point when it straight up handed me this win. With our holy mission completed, all that was left was to see just how far we could get, and as you'd assume, not very. We made it to a respectable Ante-10 and died to a big blind. The scaling was just too much for us. But that's okay. Distance wasn't the goal of this run. We simply had to make it to the finish line, which we did in flying colors. With a few more death cards duplicating that red, steel, seal, steel, red 8, we might have had a few more rounds in us, but really, what is a Balatro run without a few regrets at the end? I'm just elated I never have to take part in this stupid challenge ever again, at least voluntarily. That being said, if you too are a fan of bashing your head into a wall for long enough that your head wins, then give this run a shot. lot. If I can say I took anything positive away from this ordeal, I would say that I've gained an appreciation for a lot of jokers I've never even considered using before, and my ability to create a functional build with the materials given to me has gotten significantly better. This run is almost like the worst training regiment known to man. You'll see results, but don't think you won't hate every minute of it. I don't have any advice on how to improve it either. Maybe I'm missing something and there are big improvements that can be made with just how these runs play out, but in my experience, it comes down to good RNG and even better decision making. And while you can't improve on how well cloud patterns affect the quality of jokers you'll pull, you can always work on your knowledge and knowing the best choices you can make in a given scenario. With all that being said, it's time this journey has come to an end, and I hope you'll join me for whatever awaits in the next video. I've been Sungazer, and just remember, nothing you could ever build will make 8-ball worth it. Good night! And now it's time for the channel's meta update or whatever. So yeah, it's been a while, and I feel like I say that after every video. I'm not dead, the channel is not abandoned, and ongoing projects are still going to continue, just, you know, release dates TBA, I guess. I've gotten a few comments like that, so if you're one of them, I have not given up on the Mugen iceberg. Tier 4 is coming at some point, I just don't have the time or energy like I did when I started the channel. Mainly for two reasons, being that I moved in with my girlfriend a few months ago, and financially I'm struggling more than ever. I'm also still working full-time, so the time that I have to work on videos is far more limited than it used to be, coupled with unmedicated ADHD means it's some kind of miracle you're even seeing this one in the first place. I can't stress enough that if you like these things that I do and want more of it, then supporting the channel in any way helps more than you could possibly know. Even just a like and a comment goes a long way for channels like me, and if you're feeling extremely degenerous, we do have channel memberships and super chats for more direct support. I don't like talking about the money side of YouTube because I want the content to come before the monetization, but to put it plainly, the more I make from this channel, the more freedom I'll have to create for this channel. Similarly, go follow me on the platform formerly known as Twitter. The more followers I have on there, the more likely I am to post updates instead of just going radio silent until I have a video ready. Oh, and I might start streaming on this channel too. I forgot to write that in the script, but I do have that unlocked on YouTube now, so yeah, you might see that, maybe, perhaps. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. Thanks. If you watched this far, thank you. And hopefully you'll see me a lot sooner than 10 months. Goodbye.